Greetings, my brothers and sisters. I welcome you to the Advent reflection of this day. I invite you to reflect with me on the topic, Come, let us build our lives on God, the everlasting rock. The first reading from the prophet Isaiah, chapter 26, verse 1 to 6, seems to be a hymn of procession into a city, a strong and fortified city here named Judah. There is this feeling of pride or confidence in the words of the hymn in verse 1, where it says, "We have a strong city." Nevertheless, rather than an actual entry, this seems to be an imaginary entry, which should more properly be taken to be the song at the eschatological day. For it says in the same verse 1, "In that day, this song will be sung." And this is in tune with the emphasis of the first part of Advent, which emphasizes the second coming, the eschatological second coming of the Christ. Very importantly, there is a requirement for entry into this fortified city. It is a requirement of righteousness and fidelity. So it says in verse 2, "Open the gates that the righteous nation which keeps faith may enter in." My brothers and sisters, this should be a hymn of joy and confidence at the parousia, the second coming of the Lord, when the Lord himself will lead us into this fortified city, which is heaven. There is a blessing or reward in verse 3 for those people who during their lifetime qualify themselves to enter this heavenly city. And so it says upon them, "You keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you." This description of perfect peace signifies how the Lord also strengthens and fortifies the righteous, those who remain faithful to him, and those who trust him, whatever the condition of life, for he himself is an everlasting rock. Again, the gospel reiterates the requirement of entry into the kingdom of heaven, that fortified city. It is still those who trust and remain faithful to the will of God, by which they are made and live righteous lives. Theirs is the wisdom of building one's life upon God, who is the everlasting rock. Theirs is the better wisdom of taking refuge in the Lord, as we hear in the verse 8 of the responsorial Psalm 118, than trusting in oneself or in man, whose fall will be great, as we hear in the final words of the gospel, and who will at last be laid low and cast to the dust, as in the verse 5 of the first reading. Finally, my brothers and sisters, in my Father's house there are many mansions. Jesus tells us in the Holy Gospel of John chapter 14 verse 2. But there is an indispensable condition of entering these mansions. Like the righteous nation, we need to keep faith, and we need to trust the will of God and build upon him, the rock, with the concrete of righteousness and the rod of fidelity. Thank you.